So every year, the Financial Planning Institute of Southern Africa, the FPI, recognizes one planner who stands out, not just for technical skill, but for the way that they live the values of true financial planning. So this year, we are meeting our three finalists. Once again, we do this every year. And I'm going to introduce to you Nicola Langridge, as well as Brendan Dunn and Theoniel McDonald a little bit later. Each of them represents a different story, which is really incredible to sort of see the different paths that they are taking, that they have taken, and but they have a shared commitment to doing what is right for clients. In today's episode, we are exploring what it really takes to own your success and to reach this level, the habits, the mindset, and the passion behind all of that. And so whether you're just starting out or you've been doing this for a while, I promise you there's a fantastic chance here to learn from people who are really enjoying what they are doing and doing it extremely well. So looking forward to a fantastic episode. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Warm welcome to another episode. What is this now? Episode 37. Wow, we've got, apart from this one, we've got 3 more to go. So the last episode will be on the 21st of November this year. And yeah, we usually go until the end of November, but there are reasons why we're stopping a week early. Anyway, so looking forward to a fantastic episode today, introducing to this year's Financial Plan of the Year finalists and hearing their stories. I'm going to do 10-minute little interviews with each one of them. Each interview is going to be different questions based on how they approach things and what they are doing. They're asking different questions to different people. We're looking forward to that, so be sure to check that out. But there's really so much amazingness in this profession, and I can't wait to share that with you today. But of course, we have more people here in the room. It's always fantastic. I wish you could all see all the video feeds down in the studio here that I can see, but Nikki is here. So Nikki McDonald from the FBI and sharing the latest news with us. And then we also have Igno back with Change Your Angle. And today saying that you learned everything that you need to know from kindergarten or in kindergarten. So yeah, amazing. And then Ben is here with the Efficiency Edge, and he's going to look at your ideal week. What is that all about, Ben? You need to tell me as well. And then we have Lene. Who knows what she's up to today with the announcements, but she's here, and then we're going to get into the conversation. So let me say a warm good morning. Thank you to everybody who is saying hi in the chat. So scroll up. So we have Quibus in here first. Good morning, Quibus. Work from home today. Terence, good morning. Hope you are doing fantastically well. And there's Ben also saying good morning. And we've got Johan there, morning from Pretoria. JP, good morning. Hope you are doing fantastically well as well. Salome, goeiemorgen. Nice to see you. Lihana, thanks for saying hi. We've got Kulisi, good morning. We've got Elmin, goeiemorgen, as well as Nigel. Goeiemorgen, Nigel. Hope you're doing well there in the KZNs. Nicholas, good morning. Nice to see you. Thanks for saying hi. Chriswell, hope you're doing good. Happy Friday. Tina Spritz, goeiemorgen. Hope you're doing well. Nice to see you again. Lekker dag. We've got Greg. Good morning, Greg. Hope you're doing good. Machidi, good morning. Welcome back once more. We've got Molebo Heng. Let me just read that full out. Good morning, Mr. Neil Phillips. Good morning. We've got Frederick. Good morning, Frederick. Nice to see you as well. It's going good morning all day twice. Willem Bester, goeiemorgen. Nice to see you. Mr. Grant Newland Nell himself. Goeiemorgen, Grant. Can we catch up before the end of the year, please? well, before the 25th of November. Wouter, good morning. Nice to see you as well. Previous financial planner of the year as well. Good morning, Ferry. Goeiemorgen. Nice to see you. Ryan, nice to see you here as well. Thank you very much. Carl, good morning. Really appreciate it. And with that, ladies and gents, let's get into the show. And here's Nikki with the latest news.
Good morning, Francois, and good morning, everybody listening. I can't believe that it is the last day of October. Christmas is fast approaching, but before Christmas, we first have to get our convention done and dusted. So we are looking, as FPI, we are looking so forward to seeing everybody Monday and Tuesday, either in the Sandton Convention Center or online. And so we are very excited about Francois' episode today, as this is really the cream of financial planners, and we love to hear from them. So just one or two things that happened in the news over the last week. Scams of people impersonating the FSCA and its commissioner, Unathi Kamlana, has made a turn in New Zealand. The FSCA sent us a warning this morning, or late last night rather, that said the New Zealand Financial Markets Authority actually brought to the FSCA's attention that a company called Duke Global Funding Limited was impersonating it and Mr. Kamlana. These impersonators claim that Mr. Kamlana flagged certain transactions for violating exchange rate thresholds and then requests payments of a fee to help facilitate the resolution of this exchange rate issue. Now, obviously, that's not true. But one of the complainants allegedly paid this Mr. Kamlana and the FSCA an amount of $24,000 to assist with the exchange control issues that was purportedly flagged by the FSCA. Now, obviously, the FSCA then goes on to confirm that this is not the truth and they are not associated with Duke Global Funding Limited. So at this point in time, be so careful because it's even going to overseas to other regulators. Then the Ombud for Financial Services Providers, the FIS Ombud, presented their annual report to the Parliament Standing Committee on Finance. And John Simpson said on Wednesday that there was a 32% reduction in the number of complaints to the Office of the Ombud for Financial Services Providers against the 10 largest financial services providers in the past 3 years. He said that his office not only noted this reduction, but they also asked the FSPs for a reason. And the FSPs indicated that they did not feel they needed to come to the Ombud to resolve complaints, but they actually settled with the clients themselves. So there were still 15,400 complaints that were opened during the 24-25 financial year, which is almost 5,000 more than in the previous year. But funeral policies complaints is actually the biggest part of it, and it accounts for almost 53% of all complaints. Simpson then also said that he really has to issue determinations due to service providers settling matters, resolving complaints, and complying with the informal recommendations of his office. And it issued 2 determinations in this period against funeral policy providers, and a third related to motor vehicle insurance claims. So it seems that it gets settled before it even reaches the Ombud at this stage, hence less complaints to report. And then what's been in the news over the last few weeks actually is information on gambling, specifically online gambling. And why I'm highlighting this is because on Wednesday, the National Gambling Board actually spoke to Parliament, and they said that the value of the spending on gambling is insane. But the short and the long is, if they look at what we can do to curb this, banning or taxing online gambling is not necessarily going to be a deterrent, but education might be. They are especially concerned about the long-term impact of gambling on millennials. So the group aged 24 to or 25 to 44 in the National Gambling Board report shows that it's about 60% of the gamblers. Gambling does affect their credit scores and their ability to buy a car, home, or provide for their families later in life. The report also clearly illustrates a direct link between people who gamble and financial distress. Financial distress is defined by experienced people who, for the first time, become 90 days behind on credit. The issue here is that this is going to affect our clients, the Greater South Africa, and everything that goes along with it. So there is a bit of education to do, and I think we might be in a good position to help to just tell people what the pitfalls might be. Then that's the end of my story. We are excited about our convention Monday and Tuesday. If you are going to be there in person, please come and greet us. It would be lovely to see you, and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much, Francois.
Thank you very much, Nikki. I will definitely see you at the convention on Monday and Tuesday, and wishing everybody all the best of luck. If I see how we run around with our events, I can't even imagine what's going on your side of the world. But best of luck, great agenda. Looking forward to a great 2 days with all of you. So if you're there, we'll see you. And then next up here is Igno with Change Your Angle. And as we said, he's saying like, everything I need to know, I learned in kindergarten.
Well, hello, everybody. And today's story's actually got a backstory because it's a story that I'd forgotten that I was reminded of. I'm not sure how many of you have ever made commitments and then you realize I've overcommitted myself and only you are to blame for that. And so Robert Felgham once wrote a story about this person who he called the fire brigade because his mattress was on fire and his house was on fire. And one of the fire brigade people asked, so what happened? You know, sort of how did this happen? He says, I don't know. It was on fire when I lay down on it. And sometimes I think we still go and lay down on stuff which is on fire already. We know we've got a full schedule, but we still do it. Isn't it like, you know, that person who complained about his lunchbox, and every day he would complain about his lunchbox. I'm so sick and tired of these, you know, sort of Marmite sandwiches. And his friend who listened to the complaints every day said to him, he said, but who packs them? You know, can you talk to your spouse or who does? He says, no, I pack them. We pack it ourselves. But this whole backstory, when someone shared with me that I was, you know, it was on fire when I lay down on it, reminded me of Robert Felgham and his book, All I Really Need to Know, I Learned in Kindergarten. And I just thought this would be the ideal time. November's coming and we review our lives and we review our years. And Robert Felgham says he actually had a credo once a year. And, you know, when he was still young, that credo would be a few pages. It would read like a court report, you know, sort of everything that one wants to cover over the next year and what you stand for and what your values are. And then somehow these things tend to overwhelm us. But I've got to read his description for you because it's just so lovely, where he says, it was what we put in our minds, especially with AI and the information age. I think it's even worse now. He says, so the inspiration for brevity came to me at a gasoline station. I managed to fill my old car's tank with super deluxe high octane go juice. Super deluxe high octane go juice in an old car. My old hoopie couldn't handle it and got the willies. It kept sputtering out at intersections and belching going downhill. I understood. My mind and my spirit get like that from time to time. Too much high content information and I get the existential willies. And I keep sputtering out at intersections where life choices must be made. And I either know too much or not enough. The examined life is no picnic. And then he realized he doesn't have to have this big vision, this overall credo. All he needed to learn or no, he learned in kindergarten. And I'm going to share with you what he shared there. So if you'd like to take notes and if you'd like to share your own biggest one-line learning, I'd love to see it in the text chat. But here's what he said. 1, share everything. 2, play fair. 3, don't hit people. 4, put things back where you found them. Couldn't governments learn that about taxes? Clean up your own mess is the next one. And then don't take things that aren't yours. Next one, say you're sorry when you hurt somebody. Wash your hands before you eat. Flush, which means clean up after whatever you've done if you've made a mess. Warm cookies and good milk are good for you. Or warm cookies and cold milk are good for you. Live a balanced life. Learn some and think some and draw some and paint some and sing and dance and play and work every day some. Take a nap every afternoon. And when you go out in the world, watch out for traffic. Hold hands and stick together. Be aware of wonder. Remember the little seed in the styrofoam cup? The roots go down and the plant goes up and nobody really knows how or why, but we're all like that. Goldfish and hamsters and white mice and even the little seed in the styrofoam cup, they all die. So do we. And then remember those Dick and Jane books and the first word you learned, the biggest word of all, look. And I think look comes down to awareness. Look out for others. Look at the wonder in the world. And I think it's one of those things is to just be present. I think that's the biggest gift which we can give ourselves. And then I just need to take what he says. He says, think what a better world it would be for all if the whole world had cookies and milk at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon and then lay down with our blankies for a nap. So I just wanted to share with you, and I want to conclude with one short story. There was a little girl who asked her father, Daddy, if one is asleep, can you wake up? And he says, of course, my child, you can wake up. And she says, so if you are woken up, can you wake up more? I think we can all wake up more if we realize we just need to look and do remember what we learned in our kindergarten years are what still matters and really matters in life. Have a super duper wonderful weekend.
Just what a brilliant segment. Thank you so much, Igno. Next up, we have Ben with the Efficiency Edge, and today telling us about an ideal week.
Good morning. And I'm Ben, and this is the Efficiency Edge, the segment that makes your future self want to high five you. So I love that story that Igno just shared. They asked, how did your mattress get on fire? So, I don't know. It was like that when I lay down, because I feel that's what so many people's are like with their diaries. There's always a hot mess, and we don't know how it got there, but we just carry on. And because often we just start the day, we've got 5 things on our to-do list, and then a call comes in, a meeting goes a little bit longer than it should have done. You answer one email, and before you know it, the day has gone. So I thought, while we're coming to the end of the year, and if you look towards next year, your diary is looking maybe a bit blank. This is a perfect moment to design the week that you want to. Because as the saying goes, design beats default, and purpose brings profit. So an ideal week can be built up on some simple blocks, all revolving around the core work that we do. And that enables us to do the right things at the right time. So I think there's 4 key planning building blocks that we can use in our diary. The first one is planning time. This is quiet, focused time that you use for advice work, prepping for or going over plans, thinking through scenarios, anything that has to do with your core job of advice. The next block that I think there is client days. So set days or blocks where clients can book meetings with you. The third one would be the admin block, and that could be for emails, for tasks, for follow-ups, filling in notes, anything to do around admin. And then the fourth one I call CEO time. And that's really time to work on the business and not in it. So maybe if you're an IFA, your CEO time will be a little bit longer or chunkier than someone in a network because you'll have a few more things to do, like compliance. But this is an important block that a lot of advisors miss. This is where you'll spend time thinking through your processes, thinking around your onboarding process, your reviews. How can I improve my reviews with my clients? So here's a few helpful little guardrails that we can maybe put in place. So maybe pick 2 or 3 client days each week, but keep them the same every single week. Perhaps you might want to do planning on Mondays to set yourself up for the week, and then maybe batch some admin on Friday. Also, make sure you got some buffers in your diary for anything that does come up unexpectedly. And also, when you're looking at your diary, you don't want to max it out to 100% capacity, because that doesn't leave you any wiggle room for when things do pop up. So make sure that you've only got around 80% capacity, so it leaves you any 20% for any surprises. And then once you've come up with this plan, don't forget to then make sure that your plan matches the reality. So if you've got a scheduler, you might need to go and put those buffers in place. You need to maybe explain to staff how you're going to be doing these things next year. So take the plan and then make it into reality. Remember, you want to protect your diary first and then let others book all around of it. So an ideal week could look something like on Monday, it's planning, prep, team huddle, and short admin block. Then Tuesday to Thursday, you've got client meetings with a bit of prep in between. And then on Fridays, you could do some follow-up, some admin. And then once you know you've ticked everything off, you could perhaps go home a little early. Now, I know there's some of you that will say, but Ben, that all sounds great, but I'm a little bit more fluid. I like to work when I feel like it and not when my diary tells me to. I'm not pointing any fingers here, Francois. But what I would love to say to these people is, well, how's that working for you? Because you wouldn't be complaining to me about your diary if it was all working perfectly, right? But I don't say that. I'm a bit more diplomatic. And I'll say, okay, but remember, blocking time is not rigid because they're blocks, right? Just like Lego, you can move them around. So because you can move them to a certain time. But also, like with myself, I know that I like to do my planning or thinking work in the mornings. So then I will make sure I plan that in the morning. And then I'll have meetings in the afternoon because I don't have to think as much. I'm listening. So I plan my days around that, where I can then do thinking work in the morning and meetings in the afternoon. But sometimes I have to have a meeting in the morning, and then I can just move the blocks around so that I know that I still get that work covered and it still gets done, because there is fluidity in my blocks. So I would like to encourage you that even if you don't like blocking, to try and move your little blocks around. So what action steps can you take? So I would like you to think now towards next year. Think about what days do you want to use to meet with your clients. Think about the times of the day that you are more productive. Maybe you like to think, or you can do your thinking work in the afternoon. Protect that time so that you can use that time to think. Set up some buffers between meetings, so you're not rushing from one meeting to the next. You've got time to do the things that you need to do. So that is the end of the Efficiency Edge for today, and it's actually the last one for the year as well. So if you want to see me again next year, make sure you comment in the comments. Give me some thumbs ups, give some support, because we want to make sure that you can go and make your future self proud. Have an awesome rest of the year, everybody, and cheers.
Thank you very much, Ben. Noted, and we're trying. Love it. Righty, so hopefully you got a lot of value out of that. I think this that was packed with gold. So it's like knowing is one part; it's the doing that brings the results. So that's my encouragement today. Yes, Lene, let's see what she's up to with the quick announcements.
Sometimes you've just got to take time for yourself, recharge, realign, and catch up on everything that's going on in propulsion. Yup, even from bed, I'm staying connected. Because here at Propulsion, we are always buzzing. So let's get into our quick announcement for this week. First up, I'm again going to chat about AI plus Flow. And if you've not yet joined the waitlist and you are patiently waiting for the launch, which is happening very, very soon, you already know that if you sign up on launch day, that you will lock in the price from any future price increases. And AI plus Flow is a community where advisors, planners, and their teams turn AI dreams into action. You'll learn how to automate the boring stuff, free up your time, and focus on what really matters, your clients. So if you haven't joined that waitlist yet, what are you waiting for? Look down in the description, the link is there, and put yourself on that waitlist. Next up, I quickly want to talk about something that we do in our Propulsion community. So monthly we do these huddles, and we've got two. One for the advisor and one for the business owner. So the advisor's growth huddle is where you share, learn, and grow with your peers. Real conversations, real challenges, and real wins. This is where you'll bounce ideas off of one another and just connect with your fellow colleagues in the profession. For our business owners, we host the monthly Owners Table. This is your space to talk strategy, leadership, and building something that lasts. It's like a mastermind, but with heart. So, like I said, these huddles are hosted once a month, and the feedback that we do get after each session is just awesome, and people really do find value in these huddles. So if that's something that you're interested in, then becoming a member is maybe something that you need to look at. This is a monthly paid for subscription, and I promise you, once you join, you will not want to leave. So again, how to become a member, you can visit our website, or if you look down in the description, just click that link. And before I go back to my very intense strategic thinking session, remember to like, subscribe, and share this with a fellow colleague, because personal growth, professional growth, and a little self-care can all coexist right here in the Propulsion community. So that's it for this week, and I hope that this is also just a little reminder that you need to take care of yourself this time of year and make time for some self-care so that you can perform your best each and every single day. I'll see you again next week. Bye!
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Lene and everybody else. So let's get into the conversation today. And my first guest is Theoniel McDonald. Theoniel, good morning and welcome to Propulsion Live.
Good morning, Francois. Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here. Good morning to all the
Fantastic.
listeners as well.
Yeah, and big congratulations on being one of the last three for 2025. If you don't have context, that does sound a little bit like, is it a good thing, is it a bad thing? But this is an absolutely good thing. So looking forward to getting to know you a little bit more. Just very briefly, just tell us a little bit just where you're from, your background, and then I've got some questions I want to ask.
Thank you, Francois. And yes, I was been in Bloemfontein most of my life. I moved to George about 3 years ago. Now living in the Garden Route, and I say really enjoying that. Do a lot of traveling. Started in Wealth Associates in 2006, and yes, now been nearly 20 years. It's been an incredible journey.
Awesome stuff. So the first question. So let's get into this and see how many we can get through. You, I know, have spent a considerable amount of time on honing your advice process, not just for you, but for the entire business, right? What are some of the key lessons that journey has taught you about delivering consistent client outcomes? Because I think that's the one thing that everybody's chasing, and particularly in a bigger business, like how do you get that right? But for you personally as well.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I've spent a lot of time on this, Francois, but let me maybe go, let me share one of the latest insights that I've just come to realize. You know, often we spend so much time trying to build a generic process, and the reality, the things that really make advice unique is advisors' ability to actually work from their strengths. That gives authenticity to the advice process. So a person needs to be very careful that you don't try and build a cookie cutter process. What a good process really does is it enables advisors to work from their own strength point of view. So I'd say firstly, that's sort of one of the most important things to keep in mind. But you know, the process is really amazing, because when you start building a blueprint of your advice process, you really pick up all the intricacies in every process and every step. So I mean, we went through about I think it was a 72-step process. And when you see this in front of you, you can actually think about every single step and whether that makes sense. And also you start thinking about the specific tools that you use in every step, or the template that you use in every step. And if you really want to be fancy, then you can build a register where you actually note every single tool and every single template, and you have a date and a version number, the last time that it was reviewed. So that gives you a lot of information. And then thirdly, I think when you go through this process, you can see where every person in the process spends their time, and this is really valuable, because you also see if you know, if advisors are spending a lot of time doing administration and not so much time in front of clients, you know there's something wrong, right? Because you want your advisors to be freed from the administrative process, so they actually have more time to spend in front of clients. We all know, you know, that's how long-term relationships, that's how rapport and interpersonal skills, and those things become important to build trust. I think the last thing that really stood out going through the process is where we just realized the intricacies between the client acquisition phase and the client retention phase. So those are two really different steps. You know, one of the things that comes to mind is, you know, often you bring youngsters into the business and you want to train them and upskill them, and you link them to experienced senior advisors. But what you don't always realize is those experienced senior advisors, you know, they pretty much have built their business and they're looking after established clients. So they're managing relationships, which is very different to young advisors coming in and having to build a business and spending more time in the acquisition phase. So when you start realizing these things, you can plan for it, and you can plan your mentorship and your training and those type of things differently, specifically that you can empower those youngsters through the business.
Yeah, good stuff. Theoniel, also, like, one thing that I definitely find in practice is that, you know, because I typically look at, like, we want to serve everyone, we want to help everybody, etc., etc. And there's many reasons for that. But something that comes with that often is that advisors don't really understand the true cost of advice in their business. Like, what does it cost to service a client, right? And you analyzed this and you did a ton of work on this as well. What are some of the things that surprised you most from this, and how did it influence how you approach pricing and clients?
It's actually amazing when you start going down a rabbit hole. Certain things come to light, and how you just learn things. And you know, it's I think Ben mentioned it earlier as well. It's when you get the opportunity to work less in the business and more on the business, and then these things come out. So yes, when it comes to the costing of advice, when you have a mapped process, when you've got a blueprint of your advice process, you can you can actually link, every person in the process. So you know whether it's an administrator, whether it's an ops manager, whether it's a paraplanner or the advisor, and you can link a time to every step in the process, and then obviously you can link a cost element to that, and then you also have the business's overhead, total overhead expenses. So you can link a fixed time to specific time that people spend in the process. Then you get a nice overview of what it actually costs to deliver advice. And when you look at those things, you very often realize that there might be gaps between your value proposition and your pricing model and your remuneration model, and then you can adjust accordingly. So specifically, when you start servicing clients and you start reviewing clients, it's so important that you understand what does it cost you to go through your client appreciation function, your contact points with your clients, the preparation work, the physical meetings that you engage with a client and go through that, because each one of those things actually costs something. And if you don't understand what it costs, you actually have no idea how to price your services. And something that really stood out, the moment that you really understand what it costs you to deliver advice, then you become confident about your value proposition, and you also become confident about the way that you charge your fees. So I think a very important process for everyone to go through.
Brilliant stuff. Theoniel, and then also you often refer to the 6 components of financial planning. And I know we all are very familiar with the 6 steps of financial planning. You refer to components. Probably the same thing. I don't know. You can tell us. But but of those components, like which one do you see people still or advisors still overlook, and why does that really matter for you?
Yeah, so the steps refer to the 6 steps financial planning process: establish and define the professional relationship, gather information, analyze the data, etc., etc. While the 6 components refer to what you should be doing when you're doing a comprehensive financial plan: financial management, risk management, retirement planning, estate planning, and then tax planning, and then investment management. So those are the six components. So 2 very different things. So obviously, you've got your 6 steps, and then you use if you want to do a comprehensive plan, you need to consider the 6 components of financial planning. So for me, something that I've actually been quite passionate about, and I've done a lot of research on recently, is financial management. And there's some data that shows that financial management is often the most overlooked component of financial planning. And it's very simple, because you deal with clients, potentially high net worth clients. You assume that they are on top of their budget, that they are on top of their debt, that they are on top of their cash flow and their emergency fund and those type of things. Yet very often that is not the case. And so from what I see, is financial management is one of the main reasons why really amazing financial plans don't work, is because people don't have those specific things in place. Also, recent data from a longitudinal study in Australia showed that financial management is the one thing that makes a massive impact on mental health. For example, if you're making regular payments towards your debt, towards your short-term debt, you have a plan, and you're only saving a little bit, it already a really big improvement in mental health scores. So the point that I'm trying to make is that, yes, all those other things are really important in your comprehensive financial plan, but don't overlook financial management, because it might just be the thing that makes the biggest difference, and the thing that actually really helps your clients to get to implement their plans successfully.
I think we've got time for one more question, Theoniel. So you lead and mentor many others in your business as well, and I guess across the industry. How do you keep the team aligned with high standards and a client-centered culture and all of the things that makes true financial planning so powerful?
I think the obvious thing is, client first principles need to be ingrained in your company's values and, right through the organization. But I think those are the obvious things. I think the less obvious things is, I think you need to appeal to the young people in your industry, because yes, they need to see the importance of those client first principles, but you need to be up to date with what's happening, what's the trends in the industry, so that you can understand what's important to the new generations, and that you can also be in a position that you can mentor and guide and coach them. And I think, I mean, just also having really good mentors in my life and coaches in my life, I understand how important it is to be the same thing for the next generation. It's quite difficult to be that if you're not up to date with what's going on in the industry.
Fantastic. Theoniel, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck for Monday evening. It is quite an experience as well. So wishing you all the best. And Maurits was also here. He said hi. So hello, Maurits. And yeah, just enjoy today, and we'll probably see you somewhere on Sunday evening around there. So good luck.
See you soon, Francois. Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks, man. Bye-bye. All right, fantastic. Next up, I am going to chat to Nicola Langridge. And Nicola, warm welcome to PROpulsion Live as well.
Hi.
Tell us a little bit where you're from and sort of just a brief introduction, and then I'll get into asking some questions.
I'm from Cape Town, born and bred, and I work for Private Client Holdings in Cape Town, which is a multi-family office, and really excited to be here today.
Amazing stuff. So you talk about, and you care very much about empowering women. It's one of your sort of focus areas, and it's something you're very passionate about. And you want to help them to take charge of their finances. So what have you found works best to help them go from anxiety to confidence?
So I am very passionate about working for women and doing seminars where I do education for women, but the principles remain the same, whether it's a man or a woman. I think what's so important at the beginning is to not jump straight into the numbers and balance sheets and spreadsheets at the beginning of a meeting, to truly understand your client and understand their reason for being there and what's keeping them up at night and what their money personality is. Because until you understand that psychological background, you can't really put a structure in place that they're going to be comfortable with. So that's the first point, is making sure you understand the money personality. And then the second point is to follow a very goals-based approach. So what we do is really pull those goals out of clients, asking what do they need to make them feel secure, and what makes them happy, and what gives them joy. And it can be sports and travel and kids' education and their retirement. If you really pull apart those goals and you set specific income streams or investments to every goal and specific timelines and asset allocations, then the plan becomes very clear. You're educating your client, you're making the plan clear, and that instills confidence in them. And it takes all the anxiety out of financial planning because they have a clear picture of what's going forward, and we do it in a way that suits their money personality to make sure that they stick to it. Yeah,
stuff. You also mentioned at the beginning that you are a family office style business at Private Client Holdings, and I'm sort of curious to know, how does that, and does it change the nature of the client conversations and also the depth of the trust that you build with clients?
So it does. I come out of a very medical family, and initially I was actually going to study chiropractic. Well, I did study chiropractic for 2-3 years and went into studying business because I wanted to start this whole holistic wellness center. And then I fell in love with finance and I fell in love with financial planning. So my background comes from a very holistic look at things. So when I landed up in Private Client Holdings, it provided that bridge between looking at things holistically and doing financial planning in a way that really serves our clients. So as advisors, we can't know everything. And with a family office structure, you are sitting at the table with your fiduciary experts in-house, your tax specialists and accounting specialists in-house, your asset manager is in-house. We've got a medical and long-term insurance team. So I don't have to know everything. You go around structuring and understanding your client, but where that very technical advice comes in is pulling in those experts and making sure that what our clients receive is an extremely holistic, well thought of plan that serves them and their family going forward.
Great stuff. And if I've got my research correct, you come from an investment background as well. And I often find when people move from investment into advice, there's sort of it's almost as if there's deeper meaning behind that. But what was that like for you, and what did it teach you about like the power and the meaning of advice versus just managing somebody's money? Because for me, those are also two very distinct things.
Now, so my time on the asset management side was short. It was about 4 years, initially as an intern in New York, during the credit crunch, working for a credit analyst team of Citigroup as a advisor on credit default swaps. So, I mean, an absolute crazy entry into the financial profession. And after that, working at PSG Asset Management on the pricing team on more the upside. So what it has provided me was a very good technical understanding of how a unit trust structure is actually put in place, how the fees work, what the different components of the fees mean, even performance fees, how they're put together. And what that's helped me is when having those conversations with clients, fees on the financial planning side can be very confusing for clients. And that technical backing that I got from working on the upside in asset management has really given me that edge and being able to explain it to clients with pictures in a way that they understand, which makes clients a lot more comfortable. Because as Theoniel said, we've understood our process, we know what our costings are, but clients don't often understand or see it. And having that technical background has helped me to be able to explain it to clients in a way that makes sense.
So talking about the technical as well, many advisors do struggle to balance the technical advice with empathy. You sort of see this at the different types of conferences and things as well. Certain people are very comfortable with the more on the empathy side of things and opening up and being more vulnerable and getting more involved from that in a conversation from that point of view. Others are like, no, I'm here for the numbers. I'm more comfortable with the logical side of things rather than the emotional side. But how do you sort of balance the two between connecting with clients with heart and then having that empathy and having those deep conversations, but also ensuring that you've got the technical side of it waxed?
I think what has helped is my background, because I came from this holistic health background and then went into the straight asset management side and then found my way in financial planning. I've got a strong background in both. But it's also, developing that EQ over time as an advisor, thinking how I looked at things 5 or 10 years ago and how I look at things now. You develop a sense of when you really need to focus on the empathy and build that relationship. And then, or reading a client, knowing, some people might want to focus more on the technical side. So I think that comes with time and it comes with experience and mentorship from wealth managers around you or financial planners around you. And I guess the balance is learned over time, but it's important to be empathetic and then also put your foot down when you need to on the technical side to make a client understand when a decision really needs to be made.
Yeah. I just want to ask a quick follow-up question on that. So how much of the balance I get that you learn through doing, right? Because like you've got to learn, I did too much of this, I did too little of that. So that definitely comes from doing. But is being heavier on the empathy side, or let's say on the psychology or financial planning side rather than more on the technical side, is that something that you also learned through doing? Is that something that you actually went and did something a little bit more, I don't want to say formal, but you spend more time learning about that, or did you sort of figure that out, or were you just naturally it was a natural thing for you to be able to do that?
I think partially a natural thing for me. I've always been interested in the psychology of things and why things work a certain way. So the people matter to me a lot. And it doesn't matter if you're a doctor or a financial planner or a lawyer. At the end of the day, sitting in front of you is a person. So having to understand and build a relationship with that person is key. So I think part of it is that's just who I am. And no formal training, but I have, read a lot of books. I've gone to a lot of talks. I particularly like following Kim Potgieter. She has some really good ideas on that side of things. So it's part and part.
Then my last question. So our theme for the year for this season of Propulsion is explore. So if you think about exploring like the next stage of your career, regardless of what happens on Monday night, what areas of planning or personal growth excite you the most at the moment?
So any personal growth excites me. My husband always asks me what I'm going to study next. So, I mean, down the line, I'd probably want to do another advanced postgrad in fiduciary. But first, I've been working on soft skills. So I've done public speaking courses. I'm busy with a writing course because that's something that doesn't come naturally to me. So, and it's been very interesting to do these short courses and just develop yourself as a person so that you can be the best financial planner for your clients. Because all of these soft skills together helps you to discover parts of yourself to grow as a person. So for me, you know, what's important right now is my clients and doing courses that I feel will enhance my client experience.
Brilliant stuff. Nicola, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Congratulations for being one of the top three this year. Wish you all of the best. I will definitely see you at the convention and the gala evening. And yeah, hoping for the best. And we'll chat soon. Thank you so much.
See you soon. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Alrighty, so last but definitely not least is Mr. Brendan Dunn. Brendan, warm welcome to Propulsion Live.
Oh, thank you so much, Francois. Thank you for having me. Yeah, tough act to follow. Those two are incredibly impressive. And it's the one thing I love about this industry. You always have wonderful people you can learn from.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So tell us just a little bit about yourself, Brendan. Just a quick introduction before I jump straight into questions.
So I've been working in financial services, financial planning I'm in my 10th year now. I am executive head Johannesburg and a senior financial advisor at Hewett Wealth in our Joburg office. And yeah, I have worked. It's been a very interesting career path. I've worked in Cape Town, I've worked in Pretoria and Johannesburg. So I like to think that I'm a man of the world, and that yeah, I have a wide range of experience in working with a wide range of a lot of different people and in different markets.
Brilliant stuff. So talking about like a variety of things, you are not only a certified financial planner professional, you're also a chartered accountant, right? And I guess like something that people might say, and I think I saw a post the other day on LinkedIn where people were asking, why do you put CFP first and CASA after that, etc. But how does that combination shape your approach to holistic financial planning?
Yeah. So coming from an accounting background, when I joined financial planning, I already had a strong technical background, technical grounding, and that included tax, estate planning, financial management, which Theo highlighted so beautifully. So when that was the basis from which I entered this industry, or this profession rather, and the CFP, the Certified Financial Planner qualification, it equipped me with so many other essential skill sets and so many other different ways of looking at things. So I try and approach planning from a very holistic and strategic standpoint, and try to factor in, obviously all of the technical is very important, but also the, considering the client's preferences and, really doing a deep dive into their goals and what they want to achieve. So yeah, the planning process for me is very interesting. I like to take my time with it. I like to spend, one plan could take me several days to draft, because I really believe that no stone should be left unturned.
Stuff. You're also very passionate about developing young planners. And I'm going to say this again, like 2 years ago, I think I was a guest at the YFPO, one of their sessions, and Jodri, before the time, we were just having a chat, and she was sharing with me, like, that we were like 18 or 19 people in our study group. And now, like, we've gone through it. We qualified, we got our CFP certification and all of it. And today, only 3 of us are left in practice. It's not to say that they left the industry, or the profession, but they're no longer practicing, which is really, really sad, because you meet these amazing people, they've got so much potential, but yet we don't keep them, right? So what do you believe do they need the most? Skill? Is it mindset? Is it mentorship? Is it something else? Like, what do we do?
Skills, it's borrowing from someone more experienced or more knowledgeable than myself when I say this, but skills can be taught. I think it's very important to have the right mindset, and just to outline a few things there. It's about having a willingness to learn and improve. It's about having the desire to serve others. That's very important, and that needs to be the basis. And when I say serve others, I mean both your colleagues, working in a team environment, as well as obviously your clients. And in terms of mentorship is absolutely key. And I've been very fortunate to work with some wonderfully generous and experienced people, and continue to do so at Hewett Wealth. So I think it's having someone who's able to give you true assurance that even though times are tough, you said that you alluded to, a lot of people drop out of practice, which, I mean, even myself, I had a bit of a break in my planning journey as well. I spent 2 years working in asset management. So I can relate to that, because it is difficult coming up as a young financial planner. But I just want to assure everyone who's walking that path that there will be a breakthrough. There will be, if you keep doing the right things, if you keep learning, if you keep improving, and if you keep serving clients to the best of your ability, that you will succeed. That you will continue to grow. And even there are times where it feels like things just aren't happening, even though you're doing all the right things and things are going great with clients. And but your breakthrough, long-term success will come if you continue to do the right things consistently.
Then I want to ask you a question which I didn't ask the other two. What have you learned from this process? Entering the financial plan of the year, gone through. I know it's a rigorous process. It's a long process. It's a very involved process. But what were maybe the top learning from that, or something where you went like, that alone is worth the price of admission and more?
Yeah, I actually reflected on this before our interview today, how much effort I've put into the preparation of each stage of the process. And it really, I think one of the greatest things that I got from this is the reflection, the self-reflection, as well as reflecting on how we do things, or how I do things, my financial planning philosophy, the causes that are important to me, and what I stand for. And it reinforced so many positive things for me. And I found that by doing the work, I'm a big believer that in order to build confidence and self-belief, you need to put in the work, and you need to do the proper preparation in everything. And I think that that's really come to fruition for me this year in this competition. And I would honestly recommend it to anyone. I think it's a fantastic opportunity to learn and to grow. It's not a question of success or failure. You're either learning and improving, or if you're lucky enough and fortunate enough as I have been, you can make it to the final three of this competition, or even win the competition. It's just a wonderful opportunity, Francois, and I think that I've learned that I'm on the right path, and that I'm the way that I do things, the way that my financial planning process, as well as the way that I serve clients, is I take great comfort that I'm moving in the right direction, and that I'm doing things the right way, and being able to measure myself against the highest professional standards. It's been a fantastic challenge, and I'm so grateful to have made it this far, and to have grown and learned as much as I have through this.
Brilliant stuff. I just want to mention, like my mention of the price of admission, there's no cost to enter this. I'm just saying the cost is the time and the effort and the and the energy. That's the cost of admission. So, Brendan, just a final question from me. I think we all love this profession dearly. And if we look to the future, I've got very particular views and opinions, but what gives you the most optimism, and what do you think we still need to overcome, make this really, really great?
I think what gives me the most optimism, listening to Theoniel and Nicola, what gives me great optimism is that we're continuing to learn and evolve as a profession. And I think we're looking beyond the technical, where it's becoming more about people than it is about the technical is always going to be important, but it's becoming more about people than it is about the technical financial planning and the technical aspect. I also recently started engaging more with the YFPO. Was very and meeting so many enthusiastic, young, talented people, that fills me with great optimism. And what I think we need to improve, relating to that, what I think we need to work on as a profession is helping them. I think there are two questions here. The one is, how can we retain the top talent that we attract, and how can we attract more top talent to our profession? Because it's a wonderful profession, and it's deeply impactful, and it's incredibly rewarding, and it's a fantastic long-term career. I've seen it. I'm experiencing it now in my own career. That it's just, how can we? I don't have the answers to these questions. I do have some ideas about it, but I'd be happy to engage with any financial planners. Come chat to me at the convention. Let's chat about it. But how can we retain these young talented professionals and keep them in practice, and how can we attract more? How can we bring through the next generation of financial planning professionals?
Brilliant stuff, Brendan. All the best to you as well. Enjoy it. Don't forget to all of you, don't forget to enjoy it, right? Let me just quickly see everybody's still here. So I'm going to bring them all back. So I just want to say, don't forget to enjoy the convention, okay? Don't forget to enjoy the gala evening. I know it's quite a thing, but it's an amazing just to get to here. And I think the things that you're taking away from this entire process is invaluable. So just once again from us and everybody watching, best of luck. And we look forward to seeing the outcome, obviously, on Monday. So, and obviously, you've got to prepare all your talks and all your things. You don't know if you're going to talk. Anyway, so thank you so much. Well done on everything you do. Really appreciate it. Thank you for spending your time with us here on the show. It's great to meet you all. And not that I know all of you, but most people here probably don't know all of you. But thank you so much. All the best.
Thanks, Francois. Thanks, everyone.
Looking forward to meeting you guys
next week.
Yeah,
Bye.
Our profession is in great hands. Fantastic. Ladies and gents, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back next week. Unfortunately, our guest for next week had to withdraw. So I'm going to be on the hunt for somebody to be on the show next week. Watch this space. But nevertheless, we'll be back next week. Same time, same place. Until then, stay safe, be blessed and prosper. And stay curious and continue. Love you lots. See you at the convention maybe. And week. Bye-bye.